they kind of define a little dynamic database. Because I can look at, I can say, I have a layer called releases with release 1, 2, and 3, or I have a layer called product areas, planning and playing, or etc. And as I'm moving those things around, I know where they were put. And because I know where they were put, I can infer what people want when they want it. So far, so good? Okay, now I'm going to just quickly get through the rest of the slides and then we'll play some games. Is that okay? Okay? Good. Okay, so then you got your ideas. You solicited some ideas, and this is a very open-ended exploration topic. So I got some ideas, and I need to shape it. Our company is not going to try and create those shaping tools. There's lots of stuff out there that will let you work internally or externally to shape ideas. Lots of wikis, lots of Google Docs, all sorts of great stuff. What you end up with, though, is a list of stuff. Now, how many of you have more stuff to do than time or money to do it? Or is that just me? Come on. It's a tough crowd over there. They're like, yeah, I'm just here because I'm rich and I'm bored. Okay.
Well, I'm bored.
Oh! No stickers for you. And I have some great ones too, man. Busted. Out of here. So let's look at how things get prioritized in companies. How does prioritization occur? Well, sometimes it's just that smart product manager. I know what's right because I'm an agilist. I'm a product owner, and I just prioritize it. Okay, that's one way to do it. It can work if they truly are an expert and they have enough knowledge over the projects. Can work. Many times, though, people will say, well, let's come together as a group. We'll prioritize as a group. Product councils or product strategy councils, you have those? Product councils? I'm part of those. Let's come together. Bring the senior leaders. And then you come together and you still can't prioritize because they're like, oh, not sure. I better check with my team. So they walk off and check with your team. And rather than having an efficient prioritization meeting, you get this thing that takes 3 weeks and you're sitting there going, oh, 3 weeks. It's got to be better. So if you want to have a large group, you need tools, right? So we believe in collaborative prioritization. I'm going to skip this one, and I'm going to go right to the game itself. We've created a game that's called Buy a Feature. And now you can change the name from Buy a Feature to Buy a Project or Buy other stuff, and I'll explain what other stuff could be later on. But we take a list of items, typically about 12 to 20, and we price them. Say this project's $100. And I give Eric 50 bucks, and he really wants that project. What must he do with the other players? Assume they are all giving 50 bucks. What do you got to do?
Negotiate.
Negotiate. How do you negotiate?
Give a little bit of money into something they want in exchange for something.
Right, but is that going to be enough? You have to kind of convince them, right? You gotta sell it. Now, I am actually a very lazy guy. I'm a lazy guy. Because I'd rather watch Tricia negotiate with Richard and just watch this interaction. Because I'll probably learn a lot more by watching how Tricia negotiates than how I would negotiate over my own products and services. You with me? And as a product person, I can mine all that language of who negotiated with whom about what. And this is not a zero-sum game. This is not competitive buying at eBay. I buy it, you lose it. This is truly collaborative play. We have to work together to get the item. So far, so good? So, we put that online. It kind of looks like this. We designed a game which was for internet sunglasses. It's kind of cool. Put your sunglasses on, connect to the internet while you're driving. You know, reading the stock ticker. It's always a good thing. Well, you can't talk anymore. You might as well do your talk. So, here are some items here. Find nearby friends. I got my own scratchable lenses. Got some headphones integrated. And I got some price points here. So far, so good? So, I invite some players. Here's my players, Bing and Frank and Indranil and Jennifer and Josephine. And I give them some money. Sometimes they can buy it, sometimes they can't. I apologize for the font. So the way the screen looks is that there's the price and here's the money, and you make bids. And the system, okay, let's go. Frank, I hate the fact that I'm always scratching my lenses, so I'm just going to purchase that feature because he has enough money to get what he wants. Frank, I'd also like to get traffic directions. That would make it easier to get directions in a rental car. Puts the rest of his money there. Ming, I totally agree with you. Learning a new nav system is a pain. If you're in products and you watch what's going on, you're getting pretty excited now because you're like, oh, this is why they want something. This is why it's important to them. You can play the game multiple times and the system will help you rank. What I love is that, being in Silicon Valley, we had our internet sunglasses and the top 3 items have nothing to do with the internet. Pretty cool, huh? Right? It's pretty cool. Pardon? Streaming music didn't even get a bid. So these are the purchases and the bids. So these are scaled to the game. So this was purchased in 4 games. And the 5th game, it was bid on, but it didn't have enough money to get purchased. So it was a signal of interest. So far, so good? Go ahead.
So what about, is there a relationship between what it costs for that feature and how much money each one has?
Yes, there is. We distribute, and what we recommend, you can change this in the system, but what we recommend is you distribute 40% of the total money evenly across your players. So if the features are in total $1,000, you would distribute 400. If you had 10 players, you would give each 40. And those are rules of thumb. Now, you don't have to be super precise about this either because you're not doing price point testing research. This is just preference modeling. Right? Now, I don't know if I have any stat wonks or market research wonks, but I could explain some of the other stuff that's going on behind the scenes on that. What's interesting, though, is most people have more items than that. So you can organize features into feature tournaments. So let's say you had 45. Oh, I'm sorry. You just got to tell me when I'm walking. Let's say you had 45 projects. Well, and again, this is the raise your hand. Have you ever sat through one of those prioritization meetings when you hit like the 30th item and you're like, whoa, he's laughing all right. You're like, oh yeah, it's good. It's good! Right? It's good! Do it all! No! You get out of here! Right? I was in a meeting once with a colleague years ago. I used to run education at a company called Object Space. Some of you may have heard of Object Space a long time ago. And I'm in a meeting. One of my colleagues walks in and she's carrying a cup. And I said, Sandra, is that gin and tonic? And she goes, yeah. Sandra wouldn't kid about that. She's like, I know this is going to be a long meeting. I'm good. So, instead of saying, let's do a mind-numbingly bad prioritization, you walk up to someone and said, hey Rick, can you give an hour, 1 hour, my friends, 1 hour of your time to prioritize 15 items with your friends? And Rick says, well, 1 hour is not so bad. And you organize this so that the winning features keep getting promoted. You sort the list a few times and run it a few more times to control for what's called bracket strength, meaning if you had all the really good stuff here and all the crappy stuff here, then some of the good stuff wouldn't get bumped, right? So you sort it randomly to control for bracket strength, and you run it a few times. And the end represents your winning features. So you play multiple tournaments, and you have one final game at the end, and then you look at it and you get all this great stuff. So I gotta fix that. That's a 60%.